welcome to the Postmodern Art Podcast, the podcast dedicated to giving artists who are wowing the world over the platform they deserve. I am your host, Aiden Ragland, and welcome back to Amateur April, the special time of year to where I like to highlight artists with relatively small followings that I think you need to be loving and supporting today. And with today's guest, as we inch towards the end of April, I think it's time that we really bring forth an artist that was born for this. Today's guest is Haley Arthur, better known as BornOnSaturday, a digital artist inching closer to skeletonization, drawing the cartoons she likes, the OCs she makes, and the people she loves. Born is someone that I have been lucky and gracious enough to know for the past couple of years, so I figured, especially with this month coming up, I figured now is a better time than ever to let you guys know about her and give her that same love and support that me and my friends have been giving her for years. If you enjoy our guest, please make sure you support her with the links down in the description below. If you enjoy the podcast, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. Leave 5 stars wherever you can. You know I see that stuff. You know it genuinely warms my heart. If you want to go a little further with that support, may I recommend you check out the merch shop on fourthwall.com. That link in the description below. We have some amazing pieces of clothing as done by some amazing artists as well, including the logo designs as done by the wonderful Roshan Galaxy. And I think you would look sensational in that streetwear today. And on top of supporting this podcast, I'm always an advocate for supporting incredible projects. And right now, with one of them inching towards the end of April, with the other one at the end of May before they cut off, there's a couple of Kickstarters that you guys need to show some love and support for right now. So if you have not already, check out the link in the description below and support either the Kickstarter for Zipped Up or the Kickstarter for Umbert Actually, or both if possible. But now, without further ado, please enjoy the Postmodern Art Podcast. Alright, Born, before we really do get going, I must ask the icebreaker question of the podcast, if I may. Let's say you get to go to a dessert. Don't be dreading it. It's a fun question, okay?
I know the question. I did my homework. I binged episodes before this.
Aw, you're too sweet. But let's say you get to go to a desert island on your own accord. It's just you alone with your thoughts. You get to kick back, relax, breathe, truly enjoy yourself for a little bit. With accommodations. I shouldn't say you're stranded. More like a little personal B&B paradise away from society for a little bit. To make sure you don't go further insane on this island, you can bring one piece of media or one piece of art with you to help whoever kind of headspace you want on this island. If given this opportunity, what would that one piece be?
So I could give like a legit answer, or I could give the dirty cheater person answer.
I mean, this is
depending on your definition.
This is your call. I am also very loose with my definition, so.
All right. Well, in short, the cheatery answer is: can I just take Discord with me? Can I just have just Discord access? I can't access anything else. Just Discord.
Just Discord. Okay. You know what?
If I can hop in a call with everyone, I got like fucking 7 hours of entertainment right there. Just talking to every friend I got. That's an endless entertainment there.
You know what? That is extremely valid. That is I mean, especially with our Discord groups, let's be honest, that's a gold mine of just content more than anything else in one form or fashion.
We don't even need to fucking screen share or watch anything. Fucking 3 hours of just talking. And it's like, all right, I'm good for the next fucking 2 days.
Exactly.
Mental health wise. Thanks, guys.
I am okay. You know, I will accept that answer, but just out of curiosity, what would have been your more, I guess, legit answer? I should ask.
Just that my obsession right now is Minecraft.
Okay, so you just bring Minecraft to the island.
Just Minecraft. Just it's silly because I feel like other people have like writing, just an ability to draw, but I'm like, eventually I do get sick of those things.
That's valid.
And just I've been told by our friend group that they can tell when I'm not doing well mentally because I spend 2 days in Minecraft doing nothing but building stuff.
I mean,
so Minecraft can tend tend to be a little bit of a cope if I'm not feeling well. So if I'm alone, I'll probably just play Minecraft.
I mean, to be fair, we are in the same Minecraft server, and there was on 2 separate occasions I would go into the server. One time to where you put every one of our close friends' like chests filled with a single piece of gray window panels, and then the last time I went on, you egged my house. But
I egged everyone's house.
You egged everyone's house. True, but I was saying, but the way you egged it is you put picture frames down and then you put eggs in the picture frames.
Yeah, I egged the house. You guys still gotta check your roofs, by the way. It's up on the roof too.
No, I checked my roof. I made sure to check it. All right, like to be fair, my roof is fairly close to the ground. All right, my house is fairly close to the ground, so I could get to the roof very easily. Now, if you were to find some way to put that like underwater or whatnot, I would have several questions.
Chests.
I
put chests full of eggs under the water.
There you go. But regardless, I'll go with your first answer because I think that's honestly the more fun one. I mean, given everything or whatnot. Discord, that is your answer. You're locking that in.
Yep.
Then if that's the case, I cannot think of a better way to start the Postmodern Art Podcast. Welcome, everyone. I am your host, Nathan Ragland. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. You look fantastic in the merch. We have the merch shop, fourthwall.com. Link to that is in the description below. And follow us on Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and most social media platforms at Postmod Art Pod for future updates and guest announcements, including today's guest. She is a digital artist inching closer to skeletonization, drawing the cartoons she likes, the OC she makes, and the people she loves. Welcome to the podcast, Haley Arthur, a.k.a. Born on Saturday!
Hi. I like skeletons.
Yes, you do. That's why I made sure to include the inching closer to skeletonization that you put on all your social media. How you doing today, Haley?
Doing good. Got my coffee. Got the dog kicked out of the room. I'm doing great today.
Yes. We all have to have our caffeine in one form or fashion.
Yes.
For me, it is the sparkling ice plus caffeine, not sponsored. But regardless, no, sincerely, thank you for taking the time to be here. You and I have known each other for a while at this point, like, you know, just with our collective friend groups that we know or whatnot. And obviously...
About 2 years, almost.
I feel like... Has it been about 2 years? I feel like it's been longer. Jesus.
No, because remember, I got invited by a caffeine-addicted, sleep-deprived maniac in after knowing him 2 months.
Yeah, you know, you got a very valid point now that I remember that. But regardless, no, in all seriousness, like, I've certainly known you for a good bit, and especially seeing the art, I knew you had to be on here at some point, especially for what has been conveniently dubbed as Amateur April, the one time where people should be knowing more about the artists I bring on the podcast. And so I could not think of a better time than now to get you on here and to talk about the art that you've been making and such. But before we talk about the stuff you're doing nowadays, I want to go back just a little bit and learn more or less the origin story of Born. What got you what got you interested in art and animation and stuff in the first place?
So the very, very beginnings, I don't even remember. It was literally just I had way too much energy as a kid, and how I would spend it because I didn't really socialize with other kids was just give me a piece of paper, some crayons or markers, and I would spend all of like recess or free time or whatever in school drawing, and it was all I did. I got in trouble at times because instead of just doing like the actual paper assignments, I would draw on them.
Right.
And then they would be like, okay, this is very good, but you shouldn't be drawing on your like work. This is actual work. This is fucking math. This is English, not art class. And I'd be like, it's fucking art class because I made it art class.
Right. Oh my god, I don't know why, but that just unlocked like a core memory in me. I remember at one time I was like doodling so much, especially on like the edges of the paper or whatnot. I would always be doing so much like doodling and stuff along there, to the point to where my parents at one point said, if we find one more drawing on these edges when you're supposed to do homework, like, you know, we're punishing you, if you know what I'm getting at. I remember I remember like the next day they opened it up and I did just like just lines. There weren't even like an actual drawing, but like lines at like the top left corner. And my dad's like, "This is close. This is close. I'm gonna let this one slide, but like, come on, dude." Man, do you remember some of the early drawings, or have you got a chance to see some of the early stuff you used to doodle or draw, growing up?
Oh, I was a big fan of water. Any
Okay.
like waterfall, ocean, beach,
Oh.
a pond, a lake. I drew like sources of water all the time as a kid. I don't know what my obsession with it was, but I did it a lot. And then uh the obvious ones, I did like doodles of lines and circles and the cool S. If you're old enough to remember that, listeners, remember the cool S? Bring it back. I miss it.
No, look, hold on, time out. You can't just say if you remember growing up, remember the cool S. Look, anyone, especially at our age or whatnot, you cannot tell me how much that cool S was not the coolest thing growing up, especially whenever you learned how to do it and just nail
It
it
blew
so
my
perfect.
mind.
It blew everyone's mind. I mean, how can you say no to something like this? I mean, come on.
Like how like you start out with 6 lines and then you end up with this really cool graffiti looking S. That
It
is fucking amazing.
is the greatest thing that any artist could ever learn, and the fact that I did that in like 30 seconds, I mean, come on, people.
Start doing your S's in school like that again. May be fun again.
Yes, make schools fun again, for God's sakes. Um, it's honestly really cool, especially hearing the water aspect or the waterfall aspect or whatnot. It does also leave me kind of curious as well, because I know cartoons were also, I imagine, a major influence on that. If you're anything like me with the ADHD or whatnot, what were some of the what were some of the early like cartoons and stuff that you remember watching and absolutely loving and cannot get enough of?
Okay. Uh First one I remember is Danny Phantom. Just
Yes,
constantly Danny Phantom. I had this obsession with both Skulker and Ember.
both are valid.
I was obsessed with their character designs. I guess as a kid, they were both so cool, like the fire hair, and then this big hunter dude. It was like the epitome of like what I dreamed of a male and female character duo being.
I mean,
Uh,
both were like peak when it comes to design, especially like villain designs. Let's be honest with ourselves here.
the villain designs in that show, they weren't always peaks. As it went on, sometimes it was a little weak. But goddamn, those early seasons, it was amazing. I loved the character design of that show.
Even the comedic ones were just fun to see. I mean, who cannot forget? I am the box ghost. Beware, beware.
No, we love Box Ghost.
That's what I'm saying. He was fun.
We love him.
So Danny Phantom was one of them. Was there any other ones that piqued your interest before I interrupted?
Oh no, go ahead, interrupt me all you want.
No.
Codenamed Kids Next Door, but specifically the design of Father.
Yes.
It was simple, but it was like that is what a villain is in the mind of a kid that's like just learning that like what a villain is. A big bad guy, flaming powers. He's kind of like just masked. You don't have any detail of it. He's just like this epitome of what you think scary is as a kid, and I loved that.
He was the epitome of the parental figure that you feared or whatnot more than anything else. Like,
Yep.
because like you have like the flames or whatnot, but it's like you don't see any like facial features or anything like that. It's literally just a big bold outline more than anything else, and that's supposed to like strike fear in the kid version of you, because you don't, even though your parents, you know that they love you or whatnot, you don't want to get them mad because you know how much of a commanding appearance they're gonna be.
Yep. And that's why he is with still to this day one of my favorite characters, period, is just a father.
Mm-hmm.
Even unshrouded, I still love the guy.
He was absolutely phenomenal. I'm getting a sense early on that you tend to lean more towards, I guess, like the evil and like creepy side when it comes to like the arts or whatnot in one form or fashion or whatnot. I'm wondering, well, no, I know what you're thinking I'm gonna go, but I'm not going there. Trust me. No, but like I'm wondering, like, what is it about that like kind of aspect, kind of the creepy, scary, kind of the Halloween esque or whatnot when it comes to that aesthetic that you love and you like embrace into your own art.
Uh, I mean, I was always a fan of like the creepy Halloween stuff as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I don't know, the way I look at it now is like it's all fictional. Unlike scary stuff in real life, I have full control over the fictional scary stuff. I can turn off the TV, I can
Yep.
shut off the computer, I can draw it just fucking doing whatever the fuck I want it to do. I could draw it wearing a baby bonnet, doesn't matter.
There you
You're
go.
not real, you can't control me.
I gotta ask because obviously skeletons is also a major thing when it comes to that aesthetic or whatnot. What is your obsession with skeletons?
It's just really cool. And that was another thing that when I got like older and I started looking at like actual textbooks and drawing tutorials and shit, I love drawing bones.
Okay.
They were not scientifically accurate. Do not study any of my early skeleton drawings. They are not accurate at all. But it was fun to like draw organs or eyes. I think every artist at some point had an eye drawing phase,
Right.
or to do any like skeletons, bones. It was just very interesting to try and copy it down and get it like it was in the the old textbooks of like explorers, and they're like trying to draw to the best of their abilities the skeletons of dead animals or
Yeah.
studies for science reasons. I like to try to replicate that as close as I could because it was just very fun to see it become real on the page.
I mean, especially with like how skulls actually look and like trying to recreate that because skulls in a way are like I would say skulls in particular, but especially when it comes to like bones in general. Like they're very simple yet very complex because it's not like you're trying to like get like 100 different colors or also it's like that. Like you have a general idea of what it looks like, but also like trying to get like the individual details, every curve and crevice or whatnot. Every little chipped bit or whatnot. Like there's something so intricate and so unique about just trying to get those details down.
It's definitely a test of your skill because you look at a skull like without even the lower jawbone, that thing is like one giant fucking piece of bone, and there's
Yes.
so many curves and there are so many little pockets, and it's like, okay, but this part's porous, so there's tiny little holes in this. And me, of course, being a little bit of a masochist when it comes to my art, I was trying to replicate every little bit of the skull, meaning all those little porous holes I tried drawing. Every little curve needed to be perfect. I needed to get all the shading right.
Mm-hmm.
It's one solid color, but goddamn, does that shading take up 50 different shades of gray when you're just sketching it out on a pencil?
That shading alone like takes up days if you're not careful.
It did take up days. It took up weeks sometimes.
Goodness. Ah, man. It does leave me curious because obviously I could see kind of the inspiration, kind of the things that you loved early on when it comes to art and such. When did for you go from this like just general love and appreciation and embracing it to a passion and wanting to make it your career in one form or fashion?
So I always said like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? I just want to be an artist. That was obvious. That was the thing I always said.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I was like going into high school, they had an arts program at my school that I was going to. So of course my parents were like, "Oh, you should try out for the magnet program, the like special skills thing that they had there." And I tried out and I got in, and at the time my biggest criticism I think was that I was not really focused on any one medium. I liked
Mm.
trying everything I could and getting my
Right.
hands on every medium cuz I'd rather be a jack of all trades than a master of just one, you know. So then after high school, I of course was like, I actually wanted to take like a gap year where I just worked and drew and kind of like enjoyed my art.
Okay.
That was not an option to my parents.
Damn.
I think they would have accepted me working, but I think my dad was more so worried about like, no, you need to take this opportunity because I was offered a little bit of financial help that year because of my grades when I graduated high school. So he's like, no, take this opportunity. go to school, study art. This is what you have wanted to do since you were a child.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to fucking see this through, even if I have to drag you there.
Don't
you
just love that aggressive love and support from your parents?
Oh yeah, that's how my dad shows love.
You're saying from there.
Right. After I got into college, I had no fucking clue what I was doing because I didn't stop and think, okay, what do I want to focus on?
Right.
I didn't know. I spent 4 years trying multiple different mediums. I took photography classes. I was in sculpting. I was fucking photo editing. There was like introductory to mixed media. There was interpretive shit. There was just art history classes, which you had to take. And I was just kind of dipping my toe in everything because I was going for a general degree.
Right.
It wasn't until like the pandemic, unfortunately, that I finally was like, okay, I want to focus in on something. And by that point, if I wanted to take classes for that, I would have had to literally start all the fuck over. And I'm already like 30,000 in debt, so we're not doing that. We're gonna do this the old school way. We're learning this shit ourselves.
Goodness. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time I've had a guest on here talking about how the pandemic more or less opened their eyes to what they actually wanted to do. But also, as someone that also went to college and didn't finish up their degree and is still paying the student debts up to this day, yeah, I feel you, homie. I feel you.
Well, I did finish the degree.
Oh, okay, so you're better than me. I get it.
Good news, I did finish the degree. It's not getting any use out of it, but I finished it. I have a Bachelor of Science in Fine Arts, not even a fine arts degree itself.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you got that degree. You got that random piece of paper. Okay?
I got it done. I got my $40,000 piece of paper.
But also, like I said, I fully understand, like, again, mentally where you were kind of going through. You know, when I was on my way, at least up to college or whatnot, I wasn't 100% sure what I was going to do. I thought I was going to go into something a little bit more like TV production, like broadcast, TV journalism aspect of it. Which, I mean, I'm kind of doing now with the podcast thing.
You're still using it, at least. Even if you didn't get the degree, you're still using that knowledge. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, but I went to the school that I went to. What we had is what we call mass media, so it's basically kind of the umbrella term for that. Plus, like film production, music production. Like I'm still using what I took from that degree. And honestly, I wanted to go as a filmmaker once I actually got to college and got to experience some of this stuff. And I mean, I was able to do some of it. I actually got a couple of short films done. Some of them that got accepted to film festivals and such. So it's not like, So it's not like I've got awards for here. Let me pull down one. Let me pull down one of these bad boys right here.
Show it off.
There you go. I got a not Oscar. This is the American Youth Film Festival Best in Show College for 2019. So.
Hey, good job.
Which for the
give another look. Give another look. See, brag.
Yeah, there you go. I got my not Oscar right here. No, well, so what's funny about this film festival is actually this is like the second award I technically won from this film festival, but the first award was for best photography because the film that I submitted was a mini doc that I did on my little brother who was trying to get into photography. So it was the photos in that documentary that won the award for that thing. This was for something else. But let me put this in a solid spot. There you go, right there. But like, back to what I was trying to get at before I went off on that little tangent or whatnot. Like I get that whole entire mentality of like going through that whole entire college experience and then coming out the other side and being like, well, shit, this is actually what I want to do. What the fuck?
No, it turns out it's not a good idea to give a 17-year-old massive amounts of debt and tell them to figure out what they want to do when they're the rest of their fucking life. Turns out that's not good.
You say, you don't say. Very, very, very intriguing. Okay, so it does leave me kind of curious. You went through that entire college experience. What did you not settle on, but what did you decide going forward? This is what I want to dedicate myself to.
At this point, I still don't strictly have a focus. I
Okay.
do a lot of like character designing for commissions over Twitter, but what I learned the most is when it was like when it was assignments, I grew to hate drawing.
Right.
Like I really hated doing it. I hated the hours I had to put into it. I hated how I would, if I ever like tried to put all this actual care and creativity and love into what I was making, I would have to bring it in and people would look at it and be like, all right, now all the other students point out everything wrong with this.
Right.
Notice how the hands are wrong. Notice how the face isn't symmetrical. Notice how you were supposed to do this, but you actually did this. And I'm like, okay, so that's fucking 2 weeks of my life down the drain.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that, teacher. It's not up to your standards. I'm sorry.
That's why I always prefer doing like my own stuff separately when I was in school or whatnot. Like having like the school assignments, obviously I had to do those or whatnot, but whenever it came to like short films or whatnot, if I had an idea, I was just like, fuck it, I have the access to the equipment, I'm just gonna make my own little thing and just see how people like it, you know?
Yeah, I was always tired and I was putting so much work into the schoolwork. I just didn't feel the energy to actually keep drawing for myself. And if I tried, I would still hold myself to that same like school standard. It was where I think it was almost a full 2 years I didn't draw anything just on my own that I liked. Just I hated it. It made me so unhappy. And I was like, maybe this isn't even what I'm supposed to do. Maybe this is just a hobby that I was good at and I'm like focusing in on this thing that doesn't provide financial security, isn't bringing me joy. I don't want to put all this effort into it. When I was at the end of college and I graduated, finally in 2022, a year late because of COVID pushing it back.
Of course.
I was finally like, I want to draw. I am not going to force any sort of like our job out of this. This isn't my career. I'm going to enjoy what I'm doing for a while and see how I feel about it. I didn't want it to turn into something I hated.
Right. No, absolutely. I mean, especially I think the long and the short of it for the people listening at home is that enter college at your own risk, because everyone obviously has different experiences or whatnot. But
you can learn a lot of good things and make a lot of good connections. But if you're feeling unsure of yourself, don't just chug through and be like, I'll figure it out along the way. I'm just doing this because this is what people tell me to do. Don't do that. Don't do it because you're being told to do it.
Yeah, do it because you really want to do it. And
yeah,
sometimes it's definitely hard to find that in a environment to where it's constantly like, hey, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to match this specific standard, you need that. Yeah. Yep.
Some people thrive in a structured environment. Some people need a little more creative freedom, and that's okay.
Say, some people thrive in a structured environment, and some people, like us, have ADHD.
Yep.
But I'm glad to see that you more or less like refound that love for drawing once you got away from that circumstance. I imagine part of that love for it or whatnot is finding all sorts of other programs and all sorts of other artists or whatnot that enriches that love more than anything else. I know one of the biggest loves that I've discovered the more I searched online or whatnot is there was a certain independent animated show that may have captured the hearts of thousands and is honestly one of the biggest fandoms at this point, which is absolutely scary. How important was Hazbin for you when it comes to more or less refining that love for drawing?
So, that period of almost 2 years where I didn't draw anything was solved. Actually, no, technically it wasn't Hazbin Hotel. That came after. I was a weirdo, and I was like looking for things to listen to, like long form content, podcasts, music, whatever, to put on the background when I was trying to draw. And I came across this little like live stream podcast thing, and it was at the time, and there was this huge backlog of videos, and I'm like, I'm gonna give some of these a shot. They're super long, and I got time. And what do you know? It was like a couple people and then a couple more people, and they were all just super fucking funny, and they were always referencing I'm for those who are listening, it's Hunicast. I
Yep.
listened to Hunicast before I ever fucking touched Hazbin.
There you go. No, absolutely. And I was going to say, obviously, shout out to two of the members of the Honeycast, or at least constant members of the Honeycast that have also gracious enough to be on this podcast, Cadaver Dave, as well as Ashley Nichols.
Yep. So I love telling people that, like, I didn't know anything about Hazbin. In fact, I used to look up, like, animatics to songs I liked, and one of them was with Angel Dust and Alistair from Hazbin, and it was a shipping thing.
Right.
And I had no idea who these characters were. I'm like, what the fuck is Hazbin Hotel? I just want to listen to I Won't Say I'm in Love, and I want to see a nice animatic to it. And I'm like, are these this person's OCs?
There you go.
Is this like a show? And what is this? And then I think it was 3 or 4 years later, I found Honeycast. I was like, I don't care enough about this. And then I started listening to Honeycast, and I think I was like 5 old streams in when I was like, I should probably actually like watch the pilot these people worked on. If I'm gonna keep watching and listening to them,
it might help. Just saying.
You know, maybe some of the jokes and references, and that all makes sense if I actually watch the pilot. But boy, was I wrong in some aspects, because they really just kind of made the characters their own.
Yeah, no, they really
streams.
did.
Like,
they absolutely did.
They really did. Like, Angel Dust was way stupider on the streams before the pilot release and after it than he was in the actual fucking pilot.
Absolutely.
I miss the stream version of him. I like my stupid Spider Boy.
Well, it leads me to ask, because obviously, like, I could easily see how that became, like, a way for you to kind of fall back in love. But what was it for you about the Honeycast that just made you, like, want to just dive all into it?
Firstly, Ashley Nichols not having any, like, art... Well, she going to art school, not really enjoying it, not finishing it. She didn't have, like, the traditional schooling. She was just on her own. Like, okay. I learned this on my own. I watched tutorials. I watched books. It was this eye-opener of, like, you can do it on your own. You don't need to attend a fucking university and be in debt for the rest of your life. You can just learn to make things. It's a possibility now. We live in a new generation where you could just make things and put them out there on your own. And then, of course, just they were funny. Yeah. They, like, enjoyed what they did. They had, like, a lot of time and care for, like, their craft, for the voices they did or the art they made. And it was like, they're, like, having fun making things. I can make things and enjoy it. I don't have to hate the work I do. I don't have to slave over a desk for the rest of my life making drawings for an animation or art or whatever. I can like what I do again.
No, absolutely. I mean, especially with the amount of fun that they always just seem to have whenever they went live, or whenever they were, like, just going along in an average stream, and then just, like, something random happens, like Michael just shouts something random in the background, or freaking Ed just reads some random, like, comment that one of the people left, or obviously the legendary Ashley more than anything else. Like, there was always something entertaining.
It was nice. I wasn't part of it, obviously, but it was nice to feel like it was a conversation that you got to be semi-part of, because you got to listen to it, and they would interact with the chat at times. Most of what I saw didn't get to be live, because I was, like, super late to this at the time. But it felt like being the introduction to a creative community, I guess.
I mean, that's extremely valid.
Nice.
No, I mean, especially, like, because I'm also in the same boat. I wasn't watching alongside them whenever they were, like, live doing the stuff until, like, you know, later on, after, like, Hazbin had come out and all this kind of stuff or whatnot. But, like, they still have some fantastic moments or whatnot. I mean, I don't know about you, but my personal favorite moment is obviously what was it? I forget what the exact moment was, but all of a sudden you hear Michael go, "Oh yeah, well, I can play the Rugrats theme."
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, motherfucker, well, I can play the Rugrats theme. And then he fucks it up.
Yeah, of course he does. Do you have a personal favorite moment from the many streams that you've watched?
Probably the classic Stamper saying his big toe hurt.
Oh yeah.
Just interrupting Ed in the middle of his line, and he's like, "My big toe hurts so much. Help!" Like in the middle of my fucking tape, dude.
Yep.
I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. I'm gonna fly there and beat the shit out of you.
We appreciate our casual crash outs in the middle of a stream.
Just interrupting the fucking line that somebody wanted. That's like, I don't even think I remember it being not a short line either that Ed was doing.
Right.
I don't remember if he was quoting something or responding in character, but he was like talking for a good bit when Stamper's just like, "All right, stop, my toe hurts." Dude, what the fuck are we supposed to do about that? We're not even in the same fucking state.
Yeah, like, what, you want us to fly wherever the fuck you are and amputate it ourselves? Like, what are we supposed to do?
Oh, God. And now, after being on Discord with our friends for a while now, that is so fucking relatable.
Yeah, exactly. This is like, that's also another part of what made those streams just so much fun more than anything else, is the most relatable, like, bullshit Discord calls ever. Like, just straight up.
Yup. It was like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be like with friends. They're not supposed to not text you back for 4 days.
Exactly.
Like me.
But then, like, you pop into a call and everyone's like, "Hey, like, how's it going?"
Yeah. They acknowledge your existence and they're happy for it. Oh my God.
Exactly. That's the sign of a good friendship. Do. I mean, I will also say, like, just going off of the honey casting, I can easily see how Ashley was also, like, a good inspiration, like, for you off the bat, like, especially with, like you said, their story and how they've gotten up to that point, getting to work on such incredible animated shows, and now here they are, like, taking that next step to make their own animated show with Farfetch, like, years into that process at this point.
Yes.
I can only, I know you're a fan of Farfetch as well, so I can only imagine.
Oh yeah, I was like, God, it wasn't like at the very beginning, obviously, but I started like joining the Patreon just for Ashley, and then I joined the server, and I was like, I want to see where this goes. Like these characters, the characters now I like more than Hazbin and Farfetch because it's just even more
absolutely.
up my alley with like spooky shit happening in small town. That's exactly the type of shit I love.
No, trust me, I am in the same exact boat when it comes to that more than anything else. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember the original, like, the OG Hell Puppy animatic whenever that first dropped?
I do remember that, and I even remember like, what the one character. God, who was it? There was like 3 characters that didn't exist yet. Piper, Warren, and Griff didn't even exist at the time.
Right.
And what was Rue had some different name too.
I don't remember if Rue had a different name. I didn't remember that part.
She was like I swear she had a different name, like Lucia or something, or Lucia. But I remember like the early art of that, and Ashley had also said, Dave kind of came up with the rest of the group when he was brought on as a writer, because it was literally just it was just like a trio, 2 humans and a demon dog, and then it was like, we need more than this, Ashley. We need an actual main cast.
We need people.
We need more humans.
And thank God that we got the humans that we have come up with, because, I mean, goodness, I mean, Quinn alone, like, let's just be honest about him. I mean, come on.
You know my preference post. You know why I love Quinn.
Touche. I mean, I imagine, especially seeing that kind of, like, especially the work that Ashley has put into that, and seeing how far they've been able to progress, especially the incredible world that Farfetch is. I imagine in return it kind of inspires you when it comes to art in one form or fashion. I know one of the biggest ways that art like that and other shows may inspire you, I kind of hinted at it in the intro or whatnot, are some of the OCs that you've come up with for all sorts of different universes or whatnot. The original characters, for those that have no idea.
Post, how far back did you dig for those OCs? I gotta know.
Just a little bit. There's one in particular I did want to bring up, but we'll get to them in a second. I just at least want to know, like, I just at least want to know for you, like, how do you, what's like the mental process, like, when do you decide that, like, you're watching something or you love something and you love it so much you're like, I have an idea for a character that would fit so well in this world. How do you come up with the idea for an OC for whatever universe you're inspired by?
So for me, it's usually I just want to dabble in with that show's style for a little bit. I don't think about like what's their story. I don't even come up with a name or anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's just okay, I want to try to make my own character designs for this. There's so many oh, I guess OCs, they have no name, no story.
Okay.
No anything, no place in the world that I created them in. But I just really wanted to try that show's style and see what I could come up with.
Okay.
So most of them just start out like that, and then it's like, all right, if I can come up with something afterwards, I'll start like sharing this with people.
I mean, honestly, that's both, like, it's very unique, but it's also very smart because in a way it kind of leads into that kind of like character designer aspect that you're talking about, like potentially wanting to do more in or whatnot, like just getting a grip on the show's style and then developing a character in that style. I mean, I don't know about you, but I think that's a great way to help take a step closer to being a character designer.
Yeah, it's what I try to do because oftentimes, like, the story part is the harder part for me. The
Oh
character
yeah.
design, I love to, like, maybe they like ghost hunting, so they carry around like a walkie-talkie and a flashlight and things. Maybe they like to go skiing, so they're always wearing like a hat and goggles on their head. Like, I think what looks good, and then I can come up with the story around it.
Okay. No, honestly, that's a really interesting way of going about like character design because like you're not exactly sure like what the backstory is until you like start going in on like the little details, kind of like we were talking about with the bones earlier or whatnot. You don't realize how much you're going to invest into it until you start getting in on the little details and the shading and stuff.
Yeah, you just kind of get the basic shit down. You get like the outline of the bones down, and then it's okay. Now I got to make it look like a real bone
Yep.
to put a metaphor out there for it.
Meanwhile, like with the character design, it's like, all right, let's get the basic design. Let's do this nice little outfit. All right, and now let's do the details to explain why they're a demon hunter baker that just so happens to moonlight as a jazz singer in the club about 5 states away.
Exactly.
And that's
It's
the
like,
part that takes days.
that's the part that takes years. Post.
Valid. So I'm intrigued because there was one OC in particular, because I imagine you probably got a large wealth of different OCs. Like I said, you got some that you don't even have names to. You were just messing around with the style more than anything else. But there is one that I noticed a name to that I was curious about because I saw that character design for them, and I'm like, I need to know more about them. Who is this one character they have named Willow?
Willow. Okay, so that one is like her own thing. She's not like a fan OC. She's just
Okay.
one that I came up with. So at the time, I had someone that I was talking with on Twitter, and we were like messing around with the idea of doing like these little comic series with
Okay.
a bunch of characters. And the idea that they came up with, that they had come to me for because they commissioned me before for character design.
Okay.
So they were like, I know that you're good at this, and I have this idea, and I just wanted to run it by you. Like a series of kind of cute, creepy comics with this group of like daycare age children. And there's just this one guy who's due to the job of having to take care of all these kids, but they're all really kind of off. Like they're all creepy in their own way. So it's like this bumbling guy whose main inspiration was a mix of Bruno from Encanto and Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Okay.
And it was him kind of tasked with taking care of this group of children who are all off. Like they can communicate with bugs like Willow, or one kid really likes to dismember all of his toys, or one kid is just constantly crying. He cannot stop. His eyes are always full of water.
All right, that one you need to get like, I don't know, some kids NyQuil or something like that. Because after a while, like I don't know about you, but I personally would be like, you need to go elsewhere, kid, because this is not working for you.
And I have like I did like a full group photo of them at one point, or like drawing of them at one point with all the
Okay.
characters. Uh, it was like how many kids were there in total? Like 6 or 7.
Okay. Okay. I,
And do I even still have that? I do actually.
hey, there you go.
It was all these guys. It was 6 kids.
Oh my
And then this
god.
one guy that was just like, I have to take care of all of you, and you're all freaking me the fuck out.
Oh my god, I'm looking at these kids right now, like thanks to my lovely technology right here. Um, but like I love these kids. I love their designs. They look so fun. Everyone in this looks just so much fun. Like I wish, how should I put this? I would love to see more with those. If you ever get the opportunity to actually like get to do more with those kids, like you and the friend or whatnot, or just you yourself, that looks like fun character designs to like see
Yeah,
executed.
I would still love to do more with them, especially the 3, Willow, Tommy, and Huey. They were just like doodles I came up with all on my own when
Mm-hmm.
I was still at the office job, so I had time to just sketch things
Right.
on my own while I was waiting for stuff to get done. And I just like started sketching one day, and I came up with, okay, there's this little girl, and she likes spiders. She likes that spider that she's holding is her pet spider named Kitty.
Aww.
And the idea was when she would meet new people, she would say, "Do you want to meet Kitty?" And then she'd pull out a spider and scare the shit out of them.
Oh, that's so great. It's given me like, I don't know. It's like if Muppet Babies and Making Fiends were like combined together. That's what the vibe I'm getting off of that is.
Making Fiends was inspiration for this, but the biggest one I had was the old like I think it was Discovery Kids show, Growing Up Creepy.
Yes, that too. There you go. Put that. Put a
This
little
was
foot of
the
that.
biggest inspiration for these guys.
I feel like we were talking about that in a Discord call not too long ago, weren't we? I feel like
We were going down a nostalgia trip of old cartoons,
There
and
we
I was
go.
like, please tell me people remember this cartoon, because I loved it so much as a kid.
Oh no, I remember that cartoon a lot. That was a fun cartoon. Jesus. Thanks for again unlocking another like, I guess I don't want to say repressed memory, but just forgotten memory or whatnot. The repressed memories, you gotta go with the combination lock for those. No, I mean those are all really cool. I mean I can only imagine, especially the way you're talking about it or whatnot. These have got to be some of your favorite OCs. Like what are some of, if not your favorite OCs that you have developed and brought into the world?
So these guys are obviously up there, especially like Willow, Tommy, and Huey, because I
Right.
put the most thought into them. Like how Tommy was inspired by the Chucky doll,
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
Willow was inspired by Growing Up Creepy, and Huey was just this little kid that I wanted them to not even be able to tell, like, are you a boy or are you a girl? And it's just like, I'm just Huey. And just like they're kind of standoffish and always playing with red paint. So they were just kind of like the creepy kid in school that nobody could figure out.
Right.
And then there was my far-fetched OC, who I just had so much fun making her because her main inspiration was the ghost hunting shows on like old TV/YouTube.
Right.
And I fucking put so much thought even into her name. I named her vaguely after Lorraine Warren, the ghost, one of the ghost hunting group people, the iconic Warren couple.
There you go.
If you know, you know, in the ghost hunting community
Mm-hmm.
or in the horror community, you should know them regardless. But the one that I probably have the most like backstory and time and thought into is the one Hazbin OC, which
Okay.
is like the only real Hazbin hotel OC I have. I would dabble with the style again, but none of them have real stories or names or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But then I made Abby, and I just went full fucking throttle figuring out, like, okay, she is this ancient Egyptian deity, was created for the sole purpose of judging human souls or mortal souls. And then fucking heaven takes over, and it's like, all right, we're just gonna sort of subcontract out, decide souls go to you. But there's obviously something sketchy because barely anyone gets into heaven, and they're super picky about it, and maybe like files come back and it's like, okay, you gotta like restamp this one. This one's not going to heaven. They're going to hell. But nobody ever changes from hell to heaven. Shocker. They don't want them. And she fucking has a caffeine addiction and smokes way too much, and she just fucking hates her life and her job. She hates so much. And then it's just, all right, so Princess of Hell is like trying to fuck with our system. You're just gonna get kicked the fuck down there. And she's like, wait, what? And it's like, yeah, have fun.
Oh,
Fuck
damn.
you.
Well, I guess fuck me, right?
It's like, go fucking figure this shit out, because she's fucking up our system and we don't undo paperwork. Your life is paperwork. Go fix it.
I don't just hate whenever your heavenly deities like to downsize your role ever so more.
I think she's the personification of hating like work, hating your job.
Yep. As the legendary Tom Kenny line, down with big government.
Hell yeah, brother.
I would play the actual soundboard, but I don't want to have to do the awkward searching for. Anyways, no, honestly, like those all sound a lot of fun. I can only imagine, especially for you, like it's gotta be fun, like really taking the time to really invest yourself in these worlds in one form or fashion, especially with these OCs. Like it's gotta be a blast, even if you know that like there's no chance these are ever gonna get anywhere close to some of these worlds or whatnot. Just tinkering with the world and just having a little fun with it. That's gotta be like fulfilling more than anything else.
I spent so much time on Abby. I went into like ancient Egyptian language to pick her name.
Oh,
I
wow.
looked into like the actual beliefs and learned about like the deities that were like actually subcontracted, like the ones that were assigned in ancient Egyptian beliefs of deciding fates, and like they each had like specific crimes they handled. Mm-hmm. And I went in and I picked Abby, like, okay, so she mostly handles murder cases. They each have like a quote unquote sin they handle. I had a whole system. I have an entire system that only exists in my head as to how this shit works. I spent multiple weeks figuring out how this would work. And it's never going to be real. But I'm going to use it one day in something.
There you go. No, that honestly, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's something I did at least want to like. That was going to lead to my next question. I imagine, like, especially when you invest so much into these characters, like for these worlds that you love in one form or fashion and want to invest more in, like, you don't just want to leave them on the sideline and be like, y'all are good, but I got to focus on the next thing or whatnot. Like, so what would be something that you would love to do with some of these characters? Like, is there any ideas of potential comics, maybe a potential teasing of like a show or an animatic that you'd love to do? Like an idea that you're tinkering with? Like, what would you like to do with some of these characters?
The dream for Abby would for her to be like, if anyone knows the like Cyanide and Happiness cartoon,
yes,
Purgatoni, Tony Purgatelli getting stuck having to, that was a huge inspiration for her of just hating her office job and having to handle the paperwork of heaven and hell.
Okay,
so to get like a short series of her in an office having to deal with this shit of like, hey, we need you to refile that for us. And it's like, I just filed it. And it's like, yeah, but you did it wrong. They're not actually meant for heaven. It's like, I'm the one that fucking decides that. Yeah, but you're actually not. just fucking God level hating your job. Just a short series of that would be the dream for her. Because I put so much effort into figuring out how the whole system works that right. I don't care where Hazbin goes at this point. That system there is mine.
There you go.
I'm using it somewhere.
There you go. Honestly, like even if you made just like some short like web comics of that stuff, like just doing that alone, I think would be a lot of fun. Just seeing that like being played out.
Yeah, I would love to see her have a voice, because I have like this sort of headcanon. It would be like a little bit deeper because she's obviously a freak, just chronic smoker.
Right.
And she might not be able to die from it, but goddamn does it affect her vocal cords.
Are we talking like, what was that one character from the Venture Bros or whatnot? Like
not Dr. Girlfriend levels.
Not Dr. Girlfriend levels. Got you.
A little close, but a little bit higher. She's just very gravelly, but it's still a woman's voice. It's still higher pitched.
It's that kind of like a middle ground of like, you could tell that like if you were to take it like 1,000 years back or whatnot, it would be very sing-songy and more or less. But like the years of smoking, and even in the afterlife or whatnot, has just gotten it to where it sounds like something is like crunching in her throat the more she talks.
Yeah, if you go back like in the beginning of when she was created, probably be the headcanon would be April from Parks and Rec.
Okay.
Very deadpan, and just like age that up a few years and make it a little bit smoke riddled.
Okay.
And that would be her in the modern day.
Honestly, I'm getting that headcanon. I'm seeing that headcanon. I'd love to see that come to reality in one form or fashion. I'm telling you, like, especially if you start with like webcomics and then get some like comic dubs down or whatnot, that would be incredible.
Yeah, I've dabbled in comics and I would love to do more of them. They just take a lot of time.
Well, yeah.
Because I'm way too slow.
Well, it also doesn't hurt that, you know, you're also dabbling in the culinary arts, aka you work at a bakery.
I hate my job. They're never gonna see this. I'm gonna be upfront about that. I hate my job.
Not valid, fair, understandable. Trust me, I get it. I work a warehouse job. I get that mentality. All right.
I know. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for that.
Look, I've worked at worse places. Albeit like the job I have now. At least I am working on a forklift. I'm actually, you know, handling stuff like that. One of the first jobs I ever got in a warehouse or whatnot, I was a stacker to where we would get boxes of raw chicken that were most of it was packaged well, but I would be spending all night just moving it from one pallet to another, just stacking the boxes of chicken because we had to put it in the freezer, and when we get them in, we can't just shove it in like that. We have to put like little plastic dividers between each layer so it would freeze properly and not get salmonella when it freezes up. Yeah, exactly. And, like, I will say, 90% of our product was Chick-fil-A. So they knew how to, like, package their stuff properly or whatnot because they didn't want that mess on them. So, like, they were fine. It's when we would get, like, outside shit. Like, there was one time we started getting these deliveries for chicken that was supposed to be sent to prison systems. And...
Oh...
Well, if you want an idea of how much they did not care about prisons or whatnot, you should see how these things came in. They came in basically, like, produce boxes or whatnot, so these like horrible like boxes with, and the bags weren't even big enough to like really cover it up. It was like the same kind of bag that you would like grab onions in or whatnot, or not onions, but like whenever you go to like Walmart or whatnot and you get like the shitty plastic bag.
Yeah, I work at a store. I know those bags very well.
Yeah,
that's disgusting.
Oh, it's even worse because obviously like
that's horrible.
Oh, it's worse whenever you have to especially get one from like the top because. You've seen how tall I am, all right?
Like, oh, yeah, I've seen in person how tall you are.
Somehow this thing was towering over me, how tall this stack was. And so I would have to, like, at least for the first layer or whatnot, I would have to tip the box a little in order to get a good grip underneath it and then restack it. And because those boxes were so poor, I tip it, chicken juice and blood and shit was just pour all over the front of me, and it was...
Oh, you got carried.
Yep.
Chicken edition.
Yep. Luckily,
I am so sorry.
So that's why I say I may not be a big fan of my job right now, but it's a lot better than what I've done before.
You know what? Absolutely fair.
But enough about me. This is your episode. No, but I mean, like, regardless, like, you know, especially with how much love and passion you've put into these characters, like, I can only imagine, like, when you get the opportunity, when you can able to find the time outside of your IRL job to actually, like, work on some of those web comics or whatnot, like, I personally am really excited to see what you could potentially do with these characters or whatnot, like, how you could potentially bring them to life. It just sounds fun, especially knowing how much you've invested into them.
Yeah, I have some that I have like a full story idea. The goal for the ones would be like a full Saturday morning cartoon sort of deal. Just
okay.
Each one different story, sort of isolated. Some of them I've like dabbled in the comic idea, but I don't even like save half of them because I don't. That's my problem. If I don't think it's good enough, I don't save it. Aww. I just delete it. But
that's the curse of being a perfectionist at some point, you know?
It's a curse. Yeah.
Ah, goodness. I mean, I will say though, that being said, seeing the art that you have been able to produce and seeing the stuff you have put it to knowing the amount of effort you've put into this kind of stuff, like I can only imagine how optimistic you have to be personally when it comes to the potential that you could potentially have. Like when it comes to putting yourself out there, like because here you are years after you've gotten away from college, you finally find like a more or less like a lane that you want to like explore more and like do some more in one form or fashion or whatnot. Like how optimistic are you in what you could potentially be doing in the arts?
I I try to be pretty optimistic. I don't put pressure on myself for it is the thing. Like I'm not trying to make any of that happen
Good.
because I think that it would be too stressful for me, and like mentally I'm not always in the best place, so I don't want to add on like trying to make a whole fucking comic or cartoon on top of whatever I'm already feeling. It's just there's effort into it, but a lot of it ends up being we will see what happens when it happens. I'm still gonna work on this. I'm still gonna try it, but if it takes me until I'm fucking 60 years old to have something produced, then that's okay. I'm okay with that. I don't need to make something when I'm 27 or when I'm 28 or when I'm 30 or 40. I can just make it when I want to make it. My priority is my life. If I'm not happy in that, then anything creatively I make is going to turn out shit too.
Honestly, that is a good mentality to have, especially going in this field, because it's not easy, especially if you're not happy with what you're doing. It's not easy to express yourself, art wise, and so like that
No.
that that it's a really good mentality to have, and I've said it before, I said it again. I'll be excited to see what you could potentially do with it once you get to that point to where you're actually able to produce some more and actually like get to that point of taking that time that you want to and expressing yourself with that.
Yeah, this year, 2025, I think I want to try some more mediums. I want to try, I already do little animatics. I've shown you one
Yeah.
that somebody's going to see very soon. Hi, I hope you're
Mm-hmm.
watching this and you know who you are.
You know who you are.
You better know who. Actually, wait, there's two people. Both of you are getting something.
And you both better be
You both
crying.
know.
You both better be crying your fucking eyes out, all right?
Oh, you better. I spent all this fucking time on shit. You better cry. But no, I'd like to do more of that. And stuff with those scenes will be fun, but I have a lot of ideas just within our friend group of
Mm-hmm.
like short videos, TikToks, or if that stops existing, YouTube shorts.
Yep.
Just testing the waters by doing fun stuff and getting used to the medium, and then I can start doing it with like OCs is the plan.
Okay.
Because I have this whole fucking idea in my head and I've been thinking about it again with the Saturday morning cartoon with it's just like the two best friends going through the world together, and I'd like to get back on that cuz I don't even fucking have sketches of like most of the characters.
Well, I mean, I think, especially with your mentality or whatnot, you got plenty of time to do that, and I feel confident in you getting to that at some point. Because I'm gonna be excited to see it no matter what. You know how I am.
Yeah. And I wasn't trying to, but I've somehow ended up with a large friend group of other creatives that, like, at any time I can be like, hey, can I hire you for this? And they'll be like, I shoot, let's do it. Bet.
I was gonna say if you need voice acting, I'm literally a message away. You don't even have to pay me.
I will be paying you in some way, shape, or
Oh yeah,
form.
in some
Dude,
form or fashion.
no question.
Yeah. No, I figured that part.
We'll figure that out.
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But speaking of crossing a bridge, how about we cross this bridge? Because for this next question, Born, if I may, I want to go a little bit above and beyond when it comes to these thoughts. I want to give you more or less the dream scenario, if I may. Let's say I am Big Shot Mr. Moneybags. I come to you and like, look, Born, we know what you're capable of. We've seen the little hints and the little tastes of your art here and there, and we know there's some incredible art waiting to be unearthed. You just need a little extra push, a little extra platform to get you to that point. We have access to everyone and anyone in whatever industry possible, and more money than should be possible. We really should be compensating people and making sure they're actually able to, have a place to stay, have a place to live, give health insurance to people, especially in how fucked up of a world that we currently live in right now. We'll focus on them in a little bit. We promise we will focus on them. You have our word. We will. But right now we want to focus on you and you alone. If given this opportunity, what would be the dream Born on Saturday project?
Probably the idea for the Saturday morning cartoon classic following my two little characters called Tick and Rex.
Okay.
And it's the biggest thing is they're just this. I didn't realize it when I was making them, but Tick is like the personification of my ADHD, and then Rex ended up being personification of like my anxiety.
Okay.
And it's just the two of them doing the classic like cartoon adventures. Their biggest inspiration was a mix of Johnny Test and Futurama.
Okay, interesting.
And it's just each episode they're gonna do something wacky. They live 3,000 years in the fucking future.
Okay.
Everything is high tech, and they have a group of friends, and I want to see that in motion. I can, you know that thing where you can see it all in your head?
Oh yeah.
Like just straight up the characters are moving and talking in your head, and now you're like, all right, I need to fucking make this real. All right, I need money to do that.
Or, at the very least, a good group of friends that can help you get that in motion starting out.
A group of friends that will be compensated for that.
Well, yes. Obviously, they'll be compensated for it. But, like, it's at least starting out, we want to help out our friend bring their vision to life. We'll focus on compensation later.
No, because y'all are still creatives, and you have bills to pay.
No,
I know
absolutely.
some people even like the creative field is their main source of income, so they're going to be paid.
Absolutely.
And I don't believe in like taking too much, maybe like a little bit of work, but I don't believe in doing a shit ton of work and like, all right, we're like one step away from the final product, I can pay you now. That's not gonna happen.
No, absolutely. I mean, for God's sakes, I say at the end of every single episode, hey, if you can, pay your artists. So trust me, I'm egging you on here a little bit, but regardless, no, like especially the adventures that you more or less teased or whatnot. Just having that blend of Johnny Test and Futurama. You said that alone. I'm like, okay, let's see how this works. Hopefully, there'll be a lot less, whip sound effects.
Oh no, there are strictly no whip sound effects.
Okay, good. But what if there is a whip in one episode? Just saying.
You know what? I'm willing to give one episode where it's just a shit ton of whip sound effects as like a nod to some of the inspiration that these characters have been given. Just one episode, every single movement is a whip sound effect.
Oh, goodness.
Nobody's gonna fucking watch that episode, but I think it'd be funny to have one where it's just like, hey, if you know, you know.
Well, I mean, it'd be like, what was it? It's like somehow like the characters are the reason why every single sound effect is like they messed up with like a machine or whatnot from this like big overlord company or something along the lines of that, and they somehow busted it, and now every single sound effect is that whip sound effect. It's like, all right, we gotta go back to the main facility and figure out how to reverse this thing. Like, come on.
It'd probably be because Rex is like an inventor nerd type. It would be somehow Tick ends up messing up his invention, and it's like, Tick, we all make cartoon sounds constantly now. Why did you do this?
What were you trying to do in the first place?
I was just trying to I just wanted to go to the beach with you, bro. She's like, I'm sorry, and it's like I
was trying to make a machine that would neutralize sounds, and now somehow you amplified the sounds. How did you do this?
How did you make it do the opposite of what I invented it to do? Like, I don't know. And every single time they say a word, they move their hands around like the Italian style, and it's just constant sound effects. Yup.
Oh, that would be the most unlistenable episode, but I'd still want to watch it just to see how insane it would get.
Yeah. If I ever make that happen, I will absolutely have you be like co-writer or whatever. We will make it happen.
There you go. I like
Hopefully
the sound of
this
that.
happens.
I like the sound of that. But sadly, we gotta get down from the dream scenario. We gotta get back to reality, and I'll ask the ever so generic question. Where do you hope to see yourself in, say, 5 to 10 years from now?
So 5 years, honestly, I'll probably still be doing this. Maybe a little more work on the comics, learning
Okay.
a little more animation, but I don't think 5 years I want to rush it.
Right.
I'm, besides like other things outside of the creative field, I'm happy here. I have like a good group of other creatives I can talk to. I'm enjoying the art I make. I'm enjoying the people I talk to.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like wanting to start certain things in the future, maybe dabbling into certain voice things that nobody knows about.
Ooh.
But I've mentioned I've thought about wanting to do like voice acting, voice recording things.
Okay.
Not go into too much detail. 5 years, I'll probably just still be this, but maybe a little further ahead. Hopefully, like some longer form animations or rough animatics and stuff. 10 years, I hope to actually have a project started. It's probably not going to be done, I'm going to be honest. But I hope that, like, I'm working on it. I hope that, like, all you friends and family are, like, working on it because you're really talented. And at this point, like, you're my group. I couldn't imagine working with other people.
No.
I couldn't imagine, like, having different voice actors or like other artists or animators or writers. I would probably just be like, I want to come to the people that I know and trust. And also the people I know that if I may have a bad idea, they're going to be like, Born, that's really fucking stupid. I'm going to be honest with you.
Or at least knowing our friend group, be like, that's a really bad idea.
That's a really bad idea.
Let's see how bad we can make this.
Let's change it up so it's bad on purpose and then it's funny.
There you go. That's the good mentality to have. I was gonna say, like, whenever you're saying, like, 10 years from now, at least working on a project, maybe it not being done. I mean, you've seen other creators, especially in this field. I mean, for goodness sakes, how long has Ashley and Dave been working on Far-Fetched alone? And they're still working to the point to where I believe at this point, by the time this episode comes out, the Kickstarter for the pilot should be up and running or whatnot.
It might even be up while we're recording this, I think.
I don't think it's up while we're recording this. But at the very least, by the time this episode
it's definitely coming.
Yeah, it's definitely coming.
By the time this is out, it should be up, yeah.
Absolutely. But, I mean, regardless, like, how long have those two been working on that? I mean, Ashley even well beforehand working on, like, just tinkering with these characters before we're at this point right now. I mean...
Yeah, Ashley, I know they had those... God, I think it had been, like, high school, middle school, like... Because I've seen, like, the photos shared of like the little colored pencil drawings of them being Danny Phantom OCs.
Yes.
So that's been going for a long time.
I think I remember them mentioning it when they were on the episode of how long they've had these characters. I gotta go back and watch that episode to remember the exact how long they've had them. But they've had those characters for a while. Okay.
They've had them for a very long time, and then Dave came on. And obviously, like, things got changed because he's an actual writer and he's very good at what he does. Go support Dave Capdeville. I'm in his Patreon server.
Yeah, go support really Cadaver Dave.
Go support Cadaver Dave, everyone. Support Ashley Nichols too, and support Far-Fetched. Support them all.
Absolutely.
Or just support one of them if you can, or just repost stuff.
Exactly.
Just support.
Support.
But they've been working on it for. Together, I'd say at least half a decade at this point, 5 years.
Yeah, seems about right.
Maybe even more. I can't remember exactly.
I think they started at least working on it after the Hazbin pilot dropped, if I remember correctly. So
yeah, so that's like 6 years at this point, I think.
Something like that. It's been a while, regardless.
a long time, which is why the goal is 10 years. I want to be at least in the project, some sort of progress on it, but I'm not going to hold myself to I'm going to have a fully finished, even single episode of anything or pilot. We're going to set small goals, and when I complete more than what the goal is, I'm going to feel really accomplished, is the idea.
There you go. It's a good mentality to have at the end of the day. As we start to wind down the interview, Born, I just have one last question I want to ask you. Obviously, you are deeply entrenched in art at this point, in one form or fashion. I mean, we were talking about how early on, you only remember it, but you had the crayons and the markers or whatnot, just drawing stuff, and yet here you are right now. all this time later, still working on art in one form or fashion. How important is art, not just for you, but for the world as a whole?
The way I see it, art is sort of human history, because before we even had like a fully developed spoken language, before we had any hint of a written language, we had fucking cave paintings to tell, like, okay, here's where the buffalo are, here's where we hunted this mammoth. It's the thing that's always existed that recorded not just what happened, but how people felt at the time about it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can always like look back at the art and you can just sort of tell the mentality of the people at the time, like whether if you're in a really depressed period, you're gonna see that in the art of the artists at the time. If you're in a really excited, happy period, you're gonna see a lot of that in the art. It's gonna reflect in positive messages and bright colors. It's gonna be a lot more positive. It's gonna be looking towards the future. If somebody, say, has like a big traumatic event, it's probably gonna reflect on their art in some way. It's history. It kind of records everything, and in the end, no matter what happens, I think that art's kind of the thing that we remember.
Absolutely. That is wonderfully worded, if I do say so myself. Um, that is all the questions I have for you, Born. I've already showered you with Lord knows how much praise at this point, but I'm gonna shower you with a little bit more because it's my podcast. I do what the fuck I want.
No.
Yes, you can't tell me otherwise. No. It's my podcast. I do what I want. You can't tell me otherwise. Here it comes. Here comes the love and support.
All right, fair.
Born, like I said, ever since I've gotten the chance to know you, I've known like your art's been absolutely phenomenal, and especially preparing for this podcast, like especially seeing how it has grown and it has developed over the past couple years or whatnot. I could definitely see how much you've definitely invested into this, especially after you had that love lost because of the environment that you were in, and yet here you are right now, like producing phenomenal art one after another, like making great pieces every single time, whether it be something as simple as some of the OCs that you're doing to something as goofy as the potential truck ride that you, Rip, and PA had on the way to Florida or whatnot.
God. That's a whole other fucking podcast on its own. That story.
That's the bonus episode at a certain point. Like that's what that's gonna be.
You know what? On this, and I will tell the full fucking story of how my boyfriend and my pseudo-adopted brother were in a truck together 14 hours down to Florida. 10,000 views, people, and I will go full depth into it.
10,000 views. You hear that, people? Get this to 10,000 views, and we will have that bonus episode right here. All right? There's no backing out of that. Yep. One. But no matter what the piece may be or whatnot, like I absolutely cannot get enough of your art, and every single chance I get to see it, like it's always fun to see. Getting the chance to sit down with you right here and get to chat with you and see kind of that love that you have for art and how it's kind of more or less been with you no matter what the circumstance may be that life throws at you or whatnot. Like it leads me to have a lot of love and appreciation and a lot of excitement seeing what could potentially be there. Like obviously, I dedicate April as Amateur April for artists that I think have a potential to do some incredible stuff. They just need more eyes on their product. Like it's a crime sometimes seeing how talented some of these artists are, and there's not enough people like knowing the artist, let alone like knowing the art. And I think you are honestly a prime example of that for this month, like for this year, because your art is absolutely great. And I know, especially talking to you and seeing kind of the thought that you've put into some of this art, whether it be silly characters or otherwise or whatnot, like it needs that love and recognition. And I certainly know that people, if they are not supporting you right now, if they're not showing that love right now, like they need to, because if given the time, if given the patience, in the proper headspace that you have, I think you could potentially go places, because you've got some really cool ideas. You've got some really fun stuff just brewing, waiting to be unleashed onto the world. And I am certainly excited for it, and I hope others, by the time they've gotten to this point of the episode, I hope they're just as excited, if not more excited than me. The long and the short of it is, Born, thank you for what you do. Thank you for putting yourself out there the way that you have. And just know that no matter what happens, no matter Lord knows what's going to happen in the next, 5, 10, 15, 50 years, however many years we have on this godforsaken apocalyptic nightmare, I'm going to be by your side, supporting you every single step of the way, excited to see what you're going to be pushing out there into the world. So thank you, Born.
Post, you're going to make me fucking cry.
Look, I'm just being honest. Why do all of
you make me cry?
I'm just being honest. That is my policy, all right? Honesty is the best policy, and I honestly think you're a fantastic artist that deserves more love.
Thank you. That honestly means a lot, because I don't... It gets hard to kind of, see it for yourself when it comes to your own creations. You spend a lot of time kind of staring at it and nitpicking it for yourself.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. I mean... Look, I cannot tell you the amount of times I've looked back on episodes of this podcast and nitpick little bits that I like how I ask certain questions. But at the end of the day, I'm still putting stuff out there and I'm still taking the time to showcase my love at the end of the day. And I know that's what's going to come through at the end of the day. Just like I know that your love for these characters and these ideas or whatnot, it's going to really shine bright whenever you get the chance to show them. So I'm excited for people to see that.
That's the right mentality. Just at the end of the day, I can make peace with never doing anything in the creative sphere because I just want to be happy and have the people that interact with me feel like that was a good interaction. I put that's advice to everyone. Never put the creative stuff, it's a passion, but never put it above just being a good person. Just be a decent human. Never put that above it.
There you go. Now, if people did want to see why I have been gushing about you for the past hour or so, however long we've been recording or whatnot, go ahead and plug yourself for the people at home. Where can people find you?
I'm Born on Saturday T because Born on Saturday was taken on Twitter. So it's Born on Saturday T. T is for Twitter, which it not even fucking is anymore.
Yeah. Look, it's always going to be Twitter for me. You know my policy. You know my mentality about that.
Oh, yeah. We have the same mentality about that. Fuck that.
Yeah, fuck
that. Also, it's just stupid. And on Blue Sky, I'm Born on Saturday because that wasn't taken yet, which is why I hop on that. I'm also, I think, Born on Saturday TT. I have a TikTok. There's 2 videos. No, there's 3 videos up. Oh. There are 2 has-been animatics, or 2 has-been they're not. They're memes. There has been memes, and then 1 actual animatic that I spent way too long making for it to be less than a minute. But if you're interested, go on there. I hope to put more funny videos up. And also, I think I do have a YouTube.
There you go.
I don't even remember what the ad is on there, but I'm Born on Saturday, and my profile picture is the same as it is on Discord.
There you go. And look, if you missed any links or anything like that, I'll be sure to have them in the description below, especially your card where people could potentially commission you if they want, some of this incredible art like they're seeing on the right hand of the screen right now. Just say.
Yeah. My warning to y'all, if you want to do that, is I'm slow, but I promise I'm going to stay in contact and give you updates about it. I have a real regular day job, and I have a dog and 2 guinea pigs I have to take care of constantly.
There you go. Unfortunately, she has an IRL job. That's just how it is.
It's terrible.
Yeah, terrible. But before I do get to the thing that we end the podcast with, there is one last question that I have to ask. One that I forgot to ask a little sooner. And quite possibly the most important question when it comes to this podcast. Were you actually born on a Saturday?
Actually, yes.
Okay.
I was born on a Saturday back in 1998 at 2:30 a.m.
Oh, jeez.
But it was technically Saturday. My mom hadn't slept yet, because obviously I was being born.
For obvious reasons.
But I was born technically on a Saturday.
Well, there you go.
Fun fact, it's a My Little Pony reference.
Oh, is it now?
It comes from the one episode where Discord's pretending to be sick and Pinkie Pie's like, oh, I'll take care of you. I can tell you my entire life story. And she just starts, I was born on a Tuesday. But I wasn't born on Tuesday. I was born on Saturday.
Okay. Interesting. I like how you took it and then you flipped it and reversed it. Interesting.
Nobody knows it. If anyone could have guessed that before, hi, we can be friends.
There you go. If I remember correctly, I think I was born on a Wednesday, but my older brother was born on a Saturday. And I only know that I know that because one of the most legendary, one of my favorite Saturday Night Live sketches is motivational speaker Matt Foley, Chris Farley's character, whatnot. You know, living in a van down by the river, and that was on us obviously a Saturday Night Live. Me and my brother have the same exact birthday, 3 years apart. And
oh, you're like Irish twins times 3.
Is it Irish? I forget what exactly kind of twin it is or whatnot. But
yeah, I don't know. Irish is 1 year. I don't know what you guys are.
Polish descent. Anyways, but like I said, if I remember correctly, I believe I know that sketch was obviously a Saturday Night Live sketch. I believe that one was May 15th, 1993. I'm May 15th, 1996. So, there you go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, literally, same exact day, 3 years apart. I can never forget his birthday.
I can only imagine your parents' shock.
It's
a moment of realization.
Well, I know for that case, I think my older brother was late and I was early, I think. One of the two one of us was late, one of us was early than like our, due dates or whatnot. So
you guys intentionally synced up to have the same birthday. That's adorable.
Somehow we did. Shout out Jacob. Love you, buddy. Hope you're watching this episode.
Hi Jacob, I don't know you, but hi.
He donates $5 on the Patreon that I have that I never update. Do you have any final words before we sign off?
Shout out to Pow Pow Panda, Rip Stud, Ash's Art, Tae Draws, Bill Callis, Skies Freeman, Adam. I don't know which one you use out there. Gold, Wily Coyote, obviously. Fuck, there's so many of you. Post, you're getting a shout out.
Of course.
Christine, your girlfriend.
Hi.
No, doesn't really do much, but I still want to shout her out because I love her. My sister.
Yes.
Oh god, there's so many of us.
How about, just in case you miss any or whatnot, just shout out to the Yinsbin, because you know who you are.
Yeah, shout out to the Yinsbin. I love you guys. Especially you, PA, because you're my boyfriend. I love you.
No.
And Rip, you're my brother. I love you. And you know what? They already had their first stream. Shout out to the Sleep Deprivers. Go fucking watch their new streaming group. It's Pow Pow Panda, Rip Stud, and Tae Draws, and they're really funny. And we just had our first stream as of recording this last night. And they do fundraising for very good causes.
Yes.
So if you can, at least like go out, give them a like. You can find them on Twitter and Blue Sky.
There you go.
That's all just shout outs.
I'll be sure to have at least the link to the Sleep Deprivers in the description as well, because you guys seriously need to be doing it. I was part of that first stream as well, and I know I'm going to be there for more streams as well. So there you go.
Yep.
With that, all I have left to say is, for the people at home, if you can, please pay your artists.
Please do.
Tell me what's wrong, tell me sparks in motion. Sing me a song, tell me your eyes can all open. Show me it all, put me up in the car you drove when you used to call. Show me it all.
Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. If this is your first time listening, I cannot tell you how much I love and appreciate it. Like I emphasized throughout the episode or whatnot, Born has been a really good friend to me, a really wonderful person, and I wanted to make sure to show that love right back to her. Born, if you've gotten up to this point, sincerely, thank you so much. Thank you for not just taking the time to do this, as well as the incredible thumbnail that you did for it, but thank you for being a genuinely amazing person. And a wonderful person just to really connect with. I feel so lucky sometimes getting to know so many incredible people. I've kind of emphasized that with this past Amateur April. Legitimately, with the exception of Turquoise Tiger, which I'm so glad I got a chance to know them. But with the exception of them, every single one of the guests I brought for Amateur April are incredible artists that I've known, whether it be for a good couple of months or in the case of last week's guest, Jack Miles, I've known for years. And so to really understand just how blessed I am, not just to know these incredible people, not just to know incredible artists, but to know incredible friends at the end of the day. Friends that I know that if something happens, they'll have my back and they'll be there for me. I mean, I can say that honestly with a lot of the guests that have come and gone through this podcast. There are so many incredible people that I'm honored not just to know as, again, the incredible artists that they are, but as an incredible person and an incredible friend. It's something that I'm always lucky. Or I consider myself lucky at the end of the day. Because, there are people that go into this kind of content creation path and, they're in it for themselves, or they burn a lot of bridges along the way, and there's not many people that would have their backs if something was to happen. But the fact that I've got a chance to know so many incredible people, and the fact that I show the love and support for them, as well as them showing that love and support for me, no matter how big or how small that support is, it makes me so grateful that I took the chance to actually go forth and do this endeavor. Do this silly little wacky idea and really showcase some incredible people. And now I'm getting the opportunity to meet so many of them, like in person, which is so great. Like, I think, I hope I left this in the podcast, but if not, like, I'm planning on going to Seaborn in January with a bunch of my friends when we're going to do MagFest. So if you guys are going to MagFest, let me know. But also, like, in the short term, I'm planning on going back to MomoCon this year. So if you guys are going to MomoCon, let me know. I'd love to see you. Look, at the end of the day, I'm just so grateful and so happy to get the opportunity to know so many incredible people. Not just artists, not just content creators, not just musicians, not just wrestlers, not just digital art. I get the chance to know so many incredible people. And that's what I love about this podcast. That's what I love about this community. That's what I love about all of this. I am so honored and blessed to have you guys not just be incredible people on your own accord, but be incredible friends. Thank you for being some of the best friends I could ever ask for.